Wonderful. Well, Erica, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me today.
You bet. So before we get into your work, your web work and being an author, I want to know this first and foremost. 5 years ago, this pandemic changed our lives, changed so many things about the way we lived. How did you get through the pandemic, and how has it influenced the way that you do things today?
That is a great question because I was pregnant during the pandemic with my second child. And so things that really shifted for me were how to care for a newborn with less of a community around me while still running a business. So fortunately, I had created a team previously to me giving birth early on in the pandemic to kind of help offset some work. So as I was able to move stuff more to them. And then after she was born, kind of start slowly getting back into things while trying to find that community and trying to create a makeshift community. So it was really interesting because something where I was so used to having a community of family and relatives who were nearby, but with having a newborn, just, naturally slightly more concerned for her health and safety. So, not going to out as much, not being around people as much, not having people just drop by to see the new baby. And then once she got just a little bit older, trying to balance bringing back work into that while still having clients to make money and get paid and keep my business going and growing. So it was a really interesting time of trying to find this nice balance and harmony between everything. I know business owners joke about, oh, finding this nice work-life balance, which I don't think perfectly exists. I think it's always a little bit of a give and take. So just trying to find a new type of give and take during that era.
So you're kind of a revolutionary web design. You have a very unique perspective on what you're doing. So I want to do this to get to the heart and soul of what you do, kind of your vision and mission and work. I'm going to put you in front of 12-year-olds. It's career day, and one of the kids that's curious is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
We get to build websites for other businesses. So just plain and simple. The higher level, the brand pitch that I like to say is we build custom websites with heart and code. But at the end of the day, I want to make a small business or a nonprofit more successful. We all go to visit websites when we're working with other people. And so by creating this more visual enhancement and visual representation of their brand, I feel like I am kind of giving back to my community so they can be more successful.
So what did you want to be when you were 12 years old? What was your dream gig?
Dream gig was probably a fashion designer.
Okay.
I really wanted to design clothes and create outfits and new pieces of fashion, um, and create that for other people, which I do now see the parallel in creating experiences. Like at the end of the day, it's a visual representation of someone's attitude or maybe their own personal brand, but then it was clothes.
So, how did this technology and web design become your life? Take me back to where you were born and raised. What were these foundational elements that have eventually evolved into your career and where you're at today?
Yeah, I am from Missouri, so good old heart of the Midwest. We had our first family computer room in the late 90s and got the gateway computer, the type of box that looked like a cow on it. Very stereotypical of Midwest, not just Midwest, but families, in the late 90s. And we had AOL, of course. And so for me, I was probably 10 years old when we got our first computer. And I really enjoyed playing all the video games. I did have Barbie Fashion Designer as a video game on there. And I fell in love with being able to learn how to work with ASCII code and customize my AOL profile. And I attribute that as to how it all got started because it just was fun for me every day logging in. It's like, oh, today I'm going to add some yellow stars. Tomorrow I'm going to add some pink hearts and just kind of change it up every now and then. The evolution from that was, I want to say it was the GeoCities pages
Yeah.
and starting to slowly teach myself HTML so I could make my own GeoCities pages of just the most random of things, preteen might be obsessed with. So Spice Girls, I'm sure, was on the list.
Yeah.
Probably smiley faces because back then we had like this kind of late 60s nostalgia of like smiley faces and lava lamps and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we're at Missouri. Where are you located?
I'm in Columbia, so right kind of
Oh,
smack dab in the middle.
okay. All right. Well, I'm in Kansas City, so it's
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah. So
Very
we're
close,
right.
just down the road, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah. An hour and a half away or so. Yeah, interesting. So let me ask you this: who's been that inspiration? Who's been that hero for you in your life that's allowed you to find your voice, to find web development as your place? Who's that been for you?
My biggest source of inspiration, especially when I was younger, was my maternal grandmother. She and I were best friends. And she pursued a career in fashion in the 80s. She went back to school for fashion specifically, I think when she was about 50 years old is when she went to college. And so I always really respected her for that. And she would make all of her own clothes in the basement at her house. And so I would watch her and help her. So I think that was partially why I wanted to become a fashion designer initially. The transition to web was kind of getting lost into the digital realm of things. So again, that transition of, oh, I can, make pictures on the computer. I don't have to have fabric that I go and purchase right in front of me. I can use any color that's available here on my screen in MS Paint. And so it just kind of evolved slowly. In terms of a single person for websites or just digital in general, I don't remember a specific person. I think it was just kind of that point of time of this digital revolution of people getting online.
So you also have a children's book about girls in STEM, correct?
Yes.
Okay, talk to me about that.
Yeah. So going back just a bit again, my college background is in computer science with a minor in fine art. I was one of only four women to graduate in the month and year that I did back in 2000. Believe it was December 2008 is when I graduated. So being one of only four women, it was very limited in um, diversity of who's representing the computer science realm. And so that sparked a lifelong journey of wanting to give back in STEM, but I wasn't really sure how until I started my web development business because that afforded me more time, not only with my kids, but then to get more involved in my community. We have several both STEM initiatives for kids and girls in STEM programs here. So I've been trying to get involved and volunteer and just have continued to see a need to support young girls, especially preteens, when it starts to be not so cool to like math or to like programming or robotics. They might at a younger age, but when they get to that point where society pressures them a little bit of, that's not really something girls typically do. It's not that they can't do it, they just don't typically do it.
Yeah.
And then they start to feel more shy and they gravitate away from pursuing those types of passions. And so, in 2020, after the birth of my daughter and getting her more involved with stuff, we love building Lego at home. She's just now starting to get into Minecraft a little bit. She also loves to help dad build physical things outside. And so, we see where her interests are. They're very all over the place. And so thinking, okay, how can I show her now, or how can I show other young girls now that what they like is great, love that, but I want her to keep liking those things. And so that was kind of the catalyst for the book. I think I had the initial idea back in 2022, 2023, and not having written a children's book before, it was a very long and slow process where I could learn a lot of things along the way.
So obviously, as someone that loves technology, if you could get behind the curtain of either Apple or Microsoft and really dig into what they're doing and take a look at the things that are happening now and historically, like a sneak peek or like behind it, what company would that be?
Between those two, I would choose Apple because I feel like, especially with of course, I know Microsoft's doing a lot with their processors and microchips right now, but I kind of get more interested in their hardware side of things at a very granular level. My husband is electrical engineer, so as he shares information about microchips and processors, I kind of get interested because it does pave the way for more either supercomputing, if you will, AI and other types of things. Like the hardware essentially is pushing a lot of the software development. And so I'm very curious about the hardware side of things.
So, what was the first thing you did on a computer that someone saw you create that made you think, I have skills, I can do this? It kind of opened and the light bulb came on.
That light bulb moment happened with MySpace. So back before Facebook, similar to creating AOL profiles, I would deck out my MySpace profile because you could add your own HTML. And in high school, I would have friends who would come approach me and say, "Hey, could I pay you?" And by pay you, back then it was, "I'll pay for your lunch at school," or, "I'll buy you a soda from the vending machine. But can I pay you to decorate my MySpace profile also and customize it?" And it just didn't occur to me that that was something that I could do for other people in the sense of like marketing myself or making money from it. And so that was kind of my epiphany of, maybe I could do more with this.
So let me ask you this. What is it that gets you up every day that pushes you to create? Because the whole world of web development is always an evolving kind of organism. What gets you up every day to do that, and what motivates you to take care of your soul as well and to kind of do it holistically?
Yeah, what motivates me to get up every morning is our clients, essentially. So, wanting to see them succeed. Since we work with so many nonprofits who give back to not just our local community, but communities out of state also, I want to see them succeed so they can be helping other people. Um, and so getting up, doing that, making sure their website's good to go, communicating with them, talking to them about advertising strategy to make sure everything's in alignment so they can be successful. That motivates me. As cliche as it sounds, it's like the end result, not just the website, not just the client, not getting a paycheck, but seeing that the client is doing good in their community. That definitely balances with being able to, because I have my own business, take off at 3 o'clock every day for when my kids get home. So then, in the summer, we can go swimming. We can hang out after school and do stuff together, which is equally important. So getting stuff done early and then being able to do stuff with them later is great. Me trying to still find time for myself and my creativity usually looks like maybe playing a Switch game in the evening. I love being outside, whether it's going hiking or just sitting on our back porch. We live in the country, so we have lots of animals that kind of come and go, and I enjoy watching them. And I also like reading.
So, as somebody that obviously loves the hardware aspect of this whole technology computer world, what is your favorite piece of hardware ever?
Oh, my favorite piece of hardware ever. I would say that might be the evolution of music listening devices.
Yeah.
But I think that's more because I love music so much. I have music on while I'm working, while I'm driving, wherever I am. So being able to back in, I don't know when that was, 2002, 2003, having an iPod shuffle to
Uh-huh.
listen to my music on,
Yeah.
because then I could bring that motivation with me wherever I went. Now we have a sound system in the house and I can cast Spotify from my phone throughout the whole house and we can listen to music. So it's not a very, I would say, highly advanced technological piece of hardware, but it was something that definitely made an impact for me.
Yeah, I remember the first iPod I got, which was the first touch, was just like I couldn't believe
Hmm.
it that I didn't have to have CDs and all this media. I could just consolidate it. So no, that's a good answer. So as a music fan, what was the first really big concert that you saw? One of your favorite concerts growing up?
First concert was Spice Girls. I think I
Okay.
was maybe 11. It was after Ginger Spice had left the band, so I
Okay.
didn't see her, and it was
Yeah.
in St. Louis. But my mom took me to that concert with some friends, and it was just great. I wore platforms, I dyed my hair blue. It was everything.
So, if you were to run into yourself, say at, 16 years old, and you explained what's going on in the world right now with AI and how far we've come with the internet and technology and software and hardware, would that version of you have believed you?
Maybe because I was always interested in technology. I know, I would say when I was 16, it was the advent of 3D printers, back when 3D printers were maybe $50,000 a piece and very expensive.
Yeah.
And I was so fascinated with how they could make an impact on things. So I knew that there would be a great evolution of both hardware and software. It's not that I wouldn't believe it. I just might not understand how it would fit in with the day to day. Just like we're so used to streaming music now and we don't need CDs, same kind of thing.
So let me ask you this. If you can meet one person on the planet right now that you find fascinating or inspirational, whether it's in the realm of technology or otherwise, that you could spend some time with, who would that be?
Whenever I think of those questions, I always think of, when someone says living or dead, I was like, oh, I can think of a lot of deceased people, but let's see,
Well, no,
who would be living?
you could do ghosts. It's fine.
Oh, I could do ghosts.
Yeah,
Okay. Um, Pablo Picasso is one of my favorite artists because he understood the rules. He understood the rules of art, of traditional art, and then he broke all of those rules.
yeah.
And so I am just always curious and have always been fascinated by his creativity in order to push those boundaries and how he did that with his art to really invoke such emotion through, you know, all his paintings were blue, all his paintings were very abstracted. The other one, of course, also deceased further back would be Leonardo da Vinci,
Yeah.
similarly, where he was just so brilliant in how he approached things from science to engineering to art and how his creativity overlapped all of those pieces.
So of everything that you've created and accomplished and done in your life, what are you the proudest of?
I am probably the most proudest of being able to keep my business going when that was not something that I was trained to do. My background was in computer science. It was not in business management. I had never dreamed that I would start and own my own business. So the fact that we're going on 7 years now is something I'm pretty proud of.
So at the end of the day, Erica, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that works with you, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I am a pink nerd. Everyone knows me, and I know myself. I'm even wearing pink today. Love the color pink because it's just so bright and bubbly and fun. And then I embrace everything about being a nerd and a geek. That was something I was not so proud of back when I was a teenager or when I was younger. Now I just like to embrace it like, yep, I'm a geek. Let's go.
I love it. So if anyone wants to reach out, they have questions, they want to hire you, they want to get the book, any of the good business, where do they go?
Yeah, the best place to go for website related work is pixeljam.digital. That can either be on social media channels or that is our website as well. For the book, it is thenerdyandgirly.com for website, The Nerdy and Girly as our social media handle on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Okay, excellent. Erica, this has been great. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it too. You're
Thank you.
welcome.